Hey, folks. We are live. Happy New Year. Today, we're doing questions and answers for your questions as it relates to your business. And if we can just do a sound check, because y'all, I'm out of practice. I ain't been up here in a minute, right? So we have my folks in Zoom. Everyone in Zoom can hear me. Can you give me a thumbs up or something in the chat, making sure all the sound is going where it needs to be? And then
I,
in YouTube, if you can just give me a thumbs up, let me know you guys can hear us okay.
I can hear you just fine, Tim.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, YouTube, we're good. We're gonna go ahead and get started. So we're gonna do it like perfect. We're gonna do it like we typically do it. We're going to do this instruction first, and then I'm going to go ahead and go into the questions and answers. So this is what I'm going to try to do. I feel nervous to say this out loud because if I can't commit to it, but what I want to do is maybe every Wednesday that I come here and ask your questions as it relates to starting your business. I know that there are a lot of people getting laid off, a lot of people who need a side hustle, and if you're familiar with my story, you know that 2008, 2009, I had to start all over, and I strategically created the life that I have now after some bouts and years with depression, but neither here nor there. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm creating the type of content that I wish I had or I wish I looked at when I needed to start my career life all over again. Okay. So if there's questions that you have, if you're on my list, you can come in Zoom and we'll chat. And then, of course, on YouTube, you can ask your questions. So the reason why I added the Zoom component is sometimes y'all ask me questions and I need more information and I can't get it because we chat. You know what I mean? So if we're talking, we're going to test this a couple ways, if you don't mind. Be gracious with me. So we're going to try it in Zoom, and then I think next week we might try it on a conference call, and you guys can let me know which one is more comfortable. Okay. So, but this time we got some folks on Zoom. We're going to answer their questions as well. Their questions are going to go first, with the exception of those of you who have emailed your questions ahead of time. If there's any specific content you want me to do a particular training on, just let me know. Leave a comment. If you're on my list, just reply back and let me know, okay? So I think that's it with all of the housekeeping items. Good to see you all. All right. So we're going to start with where to start, how to grow, because that's a big question, activities you should be focusing on, free versus paid content, Jane of all trades, and of course, staying consistent. So these were the questions that you all said that you were having issues with. I gave everyone a survey on YouTube, I think a week or two ago, and the biggest issue was where to start. So we're going to tackle that. And I'm going to tell you the easiest place to start. And that is going to be that either you take something from your expertise or your personal journey. So what does that look like? What does that mean? Your current expertise, again, and you've probably heard me talk about this before. If you are someone who has all the degrees, you've been in a profession for 900 years, you have a lot of information that you could share with the general public, right? And that is something that you can monetize. You've gotten all the education from my nurses, from my doctors. You have so much knowledge that the common layperson does not know. You can monetize that. Now, if you're someone who is saying, I don't have any particular expertise on a particular topic, fine. Go ahead and start a personal journey. And think about this when you think about people who are starting fitness journeys, or the brand you're looking at right now is a reflection of me starting a new journey. I left the United States and moved to Portugal. Majority of the 15,000 people who are subscribed to my YouTube channel came from Portugal, from me basically showing my journey moving to Portugal. Okay. So think about that in your life. Is there something that you want to try or do? Is there a new software you want to learn? Is there something that you are getting ready to do and you want to show that process? This is how you can slowly start to build your audience with your ideal customer, because it's going to be people who are just like you, who are going through that same process. And it's going to be really easy for people to identify because they're looking for the information as well. So it helps you kill two birds with one stone. So this is the easiest way, folks. There's a variety of different ways to make money online. all of them, if you create your audience first, you are putting yourself in a better position. And if you need to create an audience, again, it's going to be super easy to either go with your current expertise or your personal journey or your curiosity, something you are getting ready to embark upon, and you're going to show that process, okay? Most of the time, if you're looking at content currently, that's probably what you're looking at, okay? So again, your current expertise and your personal journey. So next, we're going to talk about how to grow. And this one's going to be interesting. Okay, so when we're talking about how to grow, a lot of that, again, is going to talk about your audience. So first, you're going to determine your target audience. And we can spend some time. I know this, some people are struggling trying to get super, super specific on your target audience. And hopefully, as we continue to do this, I hope to beat this in your head for you to find out who your target audience is. Because as it relates to online, everything is done by SEO. Guys, you know I have a digital marketing firm. That is my day job. And everything we do is based online. You have to be super specific as to who you want to work with, because your target audience, they search in a way that's super specific. So when you start creating content, you want to make sure that they can find you, and they can't find you if you're attempting to be super generic, okay? So here's the thing. Fun fact, sometimes your target audience is yourself. Okay, so particularly for those individuals like we talked about before that are you're archiving your personal journey, then you're going to think about the questions that you had when you were starting this, or some of the struggles or some of the mistakes that you had. So if you're doing something about your personal journey, which is why I love that space, you already know what content you need to create. Okay, so that is what it is. Now, if you on my expertise, folks, you're going to have to approach this a little bit differently, okay? You need to find out what your target audience is actually searching for. Now, there's a bunch of different software that will tell you how to do that. Most of that software you got to pay for, not a lot, but you do have to pay for it. But I'll try to do a separate training that if you don't have software, how you can use Google to find out the questions that people are searching for. When you are first attempting to grow a new audience, you need to put content that people are searching for. Don't go by the things you think are interesting, because if no one's searching for it, they're still not going to find you. So you need to title your content in the questions or the keywords that people in your target audience would search for. This is why one of the reasons why it's so important for you to determine who your target audience is, because different people search for things differently. And if you don't identify who your target audience is, you're going to struggle trying to find the keywords or the questions they will ask. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So yeah, second thing. Find out the questions the target audience has. Just repeated myself on that. So yes. And create the content on the appropriate distribution channels. So what I would advise, and for those of you who are new to this, you heard me say this before, if you're going to create content on anything, whether it be Instagram, which I'm not a huge fan of, YouTube, your blog, whatever, before you even attempt to try this new thing, go ahead and put 10 pieces of content on it. At least 10. One, what this is going to make you do before you even go build the website, go, set up the Instagram, all these things that'll work, and it's going to take you time. But if you don't have no content, all that effort is in vain. Okay. So I want you to create the content first, at least 10 pieces, because what happens if you put one piece out there and let's say someone really likes it, they can't go binge your content because you don't have any more stuff up there. So go ahead. Please at least create 10 pieces of content, whether this is a blog, whether this is a YouTube channel, whether this is Instagram or a new social media. Create 10 pieces of content that are relevant to your target audience. You are not just going to create random content, right? Because that's not going to be helpful. You want to create content that is relevant to your target audience, right? And on the appropriate channels, which I'll spend a little time on that a little bit later. But let's breeze through this real quick. Okay, create a contact list from your current contacts. Okay, so your content that you create is going to be more of, I'm getting my marketings mixed up. Damn, inbound versus outbound. It is inbound marketing, right? I don't know. I'm having a brain fart. Anyway, so there's certain types of marketing you're going to do: inbound and outbound, right? Inbound and outbound. And sometimes people just want to bring people into them, but they don't want to reach out to them. And when you're just starting out, I want you to kind of sit by yourself quietly and write down people that may be currently in your contact list that may need your services. Here's another thing, guys. If you are just starting something, you may not be that good at it. Look, I love y'all hard, right? But you may not be that great at it. So if you are starting something new, there's a bunch of mistakes that can happen. There's a bunch of things you may not have considered. And do you want a paying customer to experience that? Like, wouldn't you want to like iron out all them kinks before they start judging you? So start to think about the people who are currently in your contact list that you could potentially help or work at a discount if you're new to this. If you're not new to this, don't do that. All right. So thank you all for joining me. We're going to move next to activities to focus on. So this is a big thing, right? Because sometimes when I see people starting a business, they will focus on activities that don't necessarily bring in money, right? And you are not in business, regardless of what the state said, because you went and incorporated an LLC and don't have any customers yet. Regardless of what the state says, you are not in business until you get a customer, right? So majority of your activities need to focus on getting a customer, and that's every day. And so here's what the struggle is. Sometimes you can get caught up doing things that like in essence work, right? But it's not bringing in any money. So I want you to get out of the mindset of just doing things that may make you busy, but they're not bringing you in money. So I want you to focus on 80% of your time is customers or clients, getting them and then maintaining them. So that's the activities you need to focus on. I know some people want to jump out and get their website. They want to jump and run to the place and get LLC. If you're doing a physical location or something with huge liability, by all means. But if you're talking about the service business and you haven't yet got your client yet, or you're worried about taxes for clients you don't have yet, like just we're gonna go real basic right now. All I want you to do, focus on every single day, is getting customers. That's not necessarily a website. It's getting customers. And we'll talk about how to get those in a second. But just like every day when you put your to-do list together, make sure that your activities are either customer getting or maintaining your customer. All right. And so there's some software and CRM you can use to make that process a lot easier. And I'll share that with you much later. You don't need to know now. Okay. Learn a new skill. So here's the fun thing, guys. So when you are embarking in this online income situation, you're going to end up learning some skills, sometimes out of necessity. You may not have the money to pay people to do it. And in some cases, you kind of want to know some basics so that when you do have to hire somebody, that you're able to hire the right person because you can ask the right questions and know what's going down, right? So you're going to end up learning a new skill. Fun fact, this whole streaming situation we got going on right now, I didn't even know how to do this before the world shut down. What was that, COVID? I didn't know how to do it. And now I know how to do it. Hold on, Christine, I'm going to mute you real quick, love. I didn't know how to do it. And then I end up learning how to do it. And now I charge it to my corporate clients. You know what I mean? So during this process, you're always going to be learning a new skill, because this is how you upgrade and end up being better than your competitors that may also do hair or contracting or personal training. I'm sorry, my examples are always horrible. All right, we're almost done. Thank you guys who are joining me. You can put your questions in the chat, but we're going to start with my folks in Zoom first. Okay, so this is a specific question from The Real Foodie Traveler from YouTube, so check her out if you are looking for folks. She said, can you please tell me how and when to stop free content and start paid content? And I'm not sure. She's not on Zoom with me because I have so many more questions to this, right? So in the beginning stages, you're going to lay your foundation of content, and it needs to be free just so people understand what it is that you do. Your customer don't necessarily know who you are or why they should even be interested. So you want to create some content so that that makes sense to them, right? But then as you're creating content, you're going to have, people are going to have to people are going to start having questions and things of that nature. And so now you have to insert your expertise. When you have to start inserting your expertise, depending on what it is, then you can kind of make a decision as to should this content be paid or should it be free. I have some more questions to ask you to make it make sense. So if you have follow-up questions with that, did I answer your question? I need to know if I answered your question even a little bit. So I'll do, the Real Foodie Traveler, I'll try to send you the link as to when I focus on this question specifically so that you can get that, and hopefully that'll be helpful. All right, so where are we now? Which one am I on now? Okay, so now we're on Jack or Jane of all trades. So here's the thing. Sometimes you may have a struggle being consistent because you're doing the most with a lot of things, right? I want you to really ask yourself, why is it that you're having a hard time prioritizing? Like, I want you to focus on your couple things. Sometimes you're having a hard time focusing because you might be a little insecure about the service that you're saying that you're providing. Okay, so, and I'm thinking of somebody in general. So let me back up. But let's go with the point I made. Focus on your talent or trade that you can stand. That's a typo. Don't judge me. Can stand doing even if you weren't getting paid. Here's why that's important. Because in the beginning, you're going to have to do a lot of stuff you may not enjoy. And if you wouldn't do this, and you weren't getting paid for it, you wouldn't finish it, right? So, like, far as it relates to like business stuff, I can talk about that until I'm blue in the face, like every day, all day, right? But other stuff I could care less about talking about. I may know how to do it, but I don't want to sit during my free time and talk about it, right? So think about the thing, if you know how to do a whole bunch of things, think about the thing that you could do even if you weren't getting paid to do it, okay? All right, next. Focus on how to become more competitive in your field. So if you are interested in cooking, not just, and competitive can mean a lot of things. Competitive can mean what will make you stand out, what you're specializing in, getting more specific. And that, a lot of that is going to go into your target audience. So if you're saying you are a cook, the content out here is saturated with cooks. So what type of food do you focus on? Are you focusing on, food that for people who are gluten intolerant? Are you focusing on meals that you can fix in 20 minutes? And then sharing some of your story so that as you're growing your audience, people can identify with you specifically. And that is what helps people want to work with you. But focus on, after you determine, how can you get better at it? How can you, now that you pick that one, you got to get really good at it and talking about what that is. So definitely, I hope that helps with the Jack and Jane of all trades. All right, staying consistent. This is the last point, and then we're going to take your Q&As for this. For those of you who are joining later, who have come in late, this is something that in theory, I'm going to try to do every Wednesday. Maybe, okay? But again, I want to give you the content that I wish I had when I had to start my life all over as far as career-wise. So if you have your questions, whether it's these videos, leave your comments. If you're on my list, go ahead and you get Zoom links, because I'm going to talk to the people in Zoom first before I come over to YouTube. So staying consistent, right? This is a big deal. Why did that go? That's not what I want. I'm all over here. Okay. So staying consistent is the challenge. And so you really got to ask yourself, is this your priority, right? Because let's say you go to work once a week. Like, how much do you think you're going to get paid? Or do you feel like they're going to keep you employed? You know what I mean? Like, and even if you're talking about, like, if you go to the gym once every, 6 months. Like, how you think that's gonna work with your goals? So it's literally what's important. Like for me, and like I probably prioritize like mental health more than I do like physical health. I don't let the COVID weight come back on, but neither here nor there. So yeah, listen, you got to be real with yourself of saying, is this your priority? And if it is your priority, are you acting like it? And so you got to look at also your life to decide, can this be your priority at the moment? Once you find out if it's your priority, you got to schedule it. I know we had these vision parties and we do all these things to say we're going to do all this wonderful loveliness at the beginning of the year. Why am I messing with this? But you got to schedule it, okay? Like you schedule everything, like you schedule your doctor's appointments, like you schedule everything in your life. You have to schedule it. But you got to really figure out, is this your priority? Because it could be you not thinking about the side hustle yet because you ain't lose your job yet. And that is you lost your job. Now it's the number one priority, right? So really like sit and think like, is this really a priority? And if you want it to be, you have to make it be a priority. And just like what you would do if you wanted to lose weight, you would start to eat right. You would start to get your gym clothes. You would get stuff to get ready to fulfill that goal. So you got to kind of do that with this too. It's just what it is. Find what you lack for consistency. So this is in the case of if you feel like you're not being consistent because maybe nobody around you is starting a business or none of your friends and family are, then you can find places online that wasn't a National Association of Women Business Owners, for my ladies in the office. And if you're in the States, there is a national office and there is a chapter per state. So if you are looking for other entrepreneurs, you can sign up for that. I think their membership may be around $300 and some odd for the whole year. And they have various events in person and online in which you can meet other business owners. So if that's what you need, if you lack accountability, if you have some friends, go ahead and find some accountability with them. Like network, get your support circles together. Do not say that you want to do this and not try to find what you need to better support you. Okay. So, yeah, that's what I got. So you can put your questions in chat. I'm gonna head over to Zoom. If you have questions in Zoom, do me a favor, raise your hand so I know I think April's first, right? So let's go on over to April. I'm gonna unmute you, love. Or did I unmute you?
I didn't have a question, but I could think of one.
Oh, no, don't think of one. Honey, I thought you had a question.
Actually, I had a question. What are you using, if this is not jumping the gun, what are you using right now to present?
To present,
What
I am
app are you using? Yeah.
using Ecamm and Keynote.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
All right. So anyone else have questions in Zoom? Because if not, I'm going to run over here to YouTube. We good? We good. All right. So we got a lot going on. How we doing on time? We're doing great on time. Black to see her. Hey there, our Black Utopia. Good to see you. Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. I love the June Zoom for my questions. How do I do that? If you're on my list, I sent the email list out. Happy to be here. I really need help to hone in on my target audience. So, guys, this is one of the reasons why we have the Zoom ad, because I have more questions. If this is a question, Humble VG, I need help to hone in on my target audience. I want to have a conversation with you to further understand what that means. Food blogger here with written and video content. I need you to be a little bit more specific, because food could mean the whole gamut, right? So I need to know a little bit more information about that. So let me know. And folks, if you want to join onto the list, click the link. You can go to drivenspice.com, scroll down to the bottom and sign up for emails. If you're already on my email list, just reply back to the email and I send all those emails out. First 3 clients were friends. Oh, wait, Karen asked a question. I'm so raggedy. Karen, if you watch this later, my apologies, honey. Okay, Karen, she says, how and where can I get my first client? I'm starting a bookkeeping business for U.S. small business owners that have no employees. My number one failure, it's not a failure, Karen, stop talking like that. is marketing. How and where do I market myself so I can get my first client? Okay, so this is a really good question. I imagine that a lot of people would have this question, right? The same question, right? So the first thing is your target audience for who you want to work with is entirely too general. U.S. small business owners with one employee, like that's super general. So here's what I would recommend that you do. I want you to kind of brainstorm what are the industries that may have one person in their job. So maybe people who are like in the beauty field. Let's say your makeup artist, your hairstylist, all of those individuals. Most likely they do not have a bookkeeper, right? And I'm not saying this is the industry that you need to go into. I'm just giving you an example. Most likely it's just them. They do not have a bookkeeper, but they probably very much need one because there's so many transactions that go on with the various services that they offer. So when it's time to do their taxes, it's all over the place. A couple of my friends or something. So I know that's a real pain point, right? So here's why you have to be super specific in your audience. If you're saying you're providing bookkeeping services for a hairstylist may be completely different. Let me back up. The services that you provide may be the same, but the way you market them to get your client is going to be different. So if we're saying, again, we're still an example of people who are beauty professionals, not even professionals. One, like if you're a makeup artist, right? Not saying that, again, this is what you should do in regards to the audience, but you want to create marketing as you're the bookkeeper for makeup artists. And what are some of the challenges specifically to makeup artists? Makeup artists have a whole different problem than people that do hair or the people who may work in makeup for Hollywood versus those who are freelancing. You follow what I'm saying? So it's hard to make very specific marketing to show that you are that person if you go so super general. Because if a makeup artist is looking for a bookkeeper, they're not typing bookkeeper for U.S. small businesses. They're typing bookkeeper for hair, beauty professionals or makeup artists. That's what they're typing. And so you want to show up for that. So you got to get super, super specific with your audience. So this is what I would recommend, Karen. I would recommend you start to think about those industries that would have one person, solopreneurs basically, that would need a bookkeeper. And then of those industries, what industries of those individuals would you want to work with? Okay, because you ain't gonna want to work with everybody. Okay, and then can they afford you? You want to make sure that you're focusing on industries that could actually afford or see the benefit of getting a bookkeeper and they only have one client. So is that it? How do I get in? How do I market myself? Determine the audience, your target audience. This is how you market yourself, whatever you're doing, guys. You got to determine your target audience. Determine your target audience, and you want to start to create content for them specifically. So here's how it's easier to maneuver when you know who your target audience is. So let's say we're still going with beauty professionals. Now you can start to look for beauty professionals that already exist, who may already have an audience, and say, hey, listen, I know that bookkeeping is one of the struggles that, people who are beauty professionals, I don't want to hair, makeup, whatever you want to do, go very specific, are having, then you can introduce yourself to those individuals' audience and grow your audience faster. But if you don't get specific, let's say I don't even know what other industry is struggling with bookkeepers, struggling to not get them or put them into their business. So whatever those industries are, that is what you need to determine first. Saying U.S. business is entirely too broad. It's going to be too hard to market, love. So I hope that makes sense. And to anybody else who is listening, target audience is important. If there's something specifically that you're struggling with for your target audience, let me know how I can kind of help you guys pull out your target audience. Okay, how we doing on time? We're doing good on time. No questions in Zoom, right? Y'all so quiet and cute. Okay. All right. Our first 3 clients were friends and family, and they paid and gave us good testimonies. There you go. Okay, I didn't think about using internal contacts. Absolutely. Get them internal contacts. Okay, question. Thank you. Do I pre-notify my existing contacts before I add their email to my newsletter? Some are friends. So Humble VG, I hope you're still in the comments. See, I need to know, why are you adding them to a newsletter? What are y'all using newsletters for? First of all, let's take out the word newsletters. I think newsletters got a really bad rap in that word, because nobody just runs to a website and say, oh my God, I want to sign up for newsletters. So if you're going to inundate people when you say they're your existing contacts, they never agreed to be on your list, right? So you can just send an email and ask them. But ultimately, what are you going to give them that's going to be value so that they want to stay there? Or so they'll say, yeah, we'll get on your list. Because when somebody asks me to be on it, I'll be like, what? I don't want to. So think about that. Or you can chat with me. Okay. I just had an agreement. Welcome. Hey there, the engineer. I'm new to your channel, watching from South Carolina in the house. Hey, girl. Questions do I... Okay. All right. So are we done? I want to open a bar here. Come on, it'll be fun. I don't even know what I didn't even mean to read it out loud because I have no idea what that means. Okay, Humble Bee. Okay, publishes recipes, content, plant-based African food. Interesting. I have posted need to build audience. Working on reaching out to external blog. Okay, hold on. So you have 100 articles already posted. What's your monthly? What's your monthly visitors that come to the website? Okay. All right, folks, if you have questions, I'll stay on for another 5 minutes. So here's the plan. I think. I feel like I'm going to try to do this every Wednesday at this time. And so if you want to communicate back and forth with me so we could talk, we'll try and Zoom now. But my Zoom folks don't have no questions. How y'all don't have no questions? My Zoom, I will answer in Zoom so I can continue to ask you about your business. I think next week we're going to try the conference line. If you are on my list, I will send you the email on how to get connected. But I think we're going to do a conference line, and then you guys let me know. We might do Zoom one more time. You let me know which ones you feel comfortable with. Again, the whole goal is so that you can go ahead and get this business started or grow it, right? So yeah, okay. I publish receipts content. Okay, I'm having a hard time understanding, Humble V, how you have 100 articles but only 600 a month, 600 people a month. So this is what I need. I need you to start doing some keyword research on the articles that you don't need to write no more articles. Okay. But what you do need to know, you need to learn or figure out if you're optimized for keywords, because that's a lot of articles to only get 600 monthly. So your issue could be that you aren't search engine optimized like at all. And so right now you want to look, like, I don't know if you have any analytics, but you want to look to see, of the 600 that are coming monthly, how are they getting there? Is there a specific article that you rank relatively well for? And then you can reverse engineer creating content around that base first, okay? But if you have 100 plus articles posted, you're not search engine optimized, love heart. That sounds like what that issue is just off the break. So yeah, you want to get search engine optimized on that. And let's see. Question, how do I receive the Zoom link? It's in the email. We went over that. Took my business. I want to pivot services to general market. I never want to depend on a contract again. I'm not sure what the question is. Okay, I want to pivot to digital plug and play. What's the question, love? All right. Are we good? I got some new folks. Oh, hey, love. You got your hand raised. Let's talk. I'm about to unmute you.
Hi there. I am from Humble Veggie. I was having issues, so I had to sign off there to hop on here.
No worries. Can everyone hear her in YouTube? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear. I want to make sure that people hear your question. Go ahead, love.
Okay. Yes, I am with Humble Veggie, and yes, I am absolutely not search engine optimized at all. I started, and I've been following Cinnamon for a long time. I took all the notes that you've mentioned in your previous video. So the question is, I really want to get search engine optimized, and I have so many other things that I'm putting together, but I want help. So
Okay.
I guess the question is, how's your availability
Oh,
like?
for
And
me, you want me specifically? Well,
yes.
just email me. I think I'm tied up this month, but maybe February. But let me give you some advice for people who already have the content, but they're still not building the audience. Okay, so I'm gonna tell this to you too, love. So there's some software that you don't have to pay for the year, but it might help you to pay for it for at least a month. It's you can use a software like SEMrush, and that's SEMRUSH.com. And then there's another one called AH A is in Apple, H is in Henry, R is in Robert, E is in Edward, F is in Frank.com, right? So what these two websites will do, I'm gonna let you know Ahrefs is not the most user friendly, but there's a bunch of YouTube tutorials for anyone who wants to do this themselves and don't want to spend too money. Just subscribe to one of those for a month, all right? If you already have content, like Humble Veggie, I didn't read it like that. I love that. Thank you for correcting me, love. So the benefit of these softwares, they'll tell you if you already have content published, okay, they'll say where you are showing up in Google and which particular keywords you're already showing up for, like what Google is indexing you for currently. Okay, so and this is the same thing I do with even my corporate clients. We first need to know, how is Google looking at you? Okay, and if they're looking at you to be strong in this particular area, sometimes, not all, sometimes it would make more sense if you create more content that is geared to what Google already thinks that you are about, if that makes sense, right? So you may think in your mind, because you didn't do any type of analysis, not specifically you, love, just in general, you may think in your mind that you're about, I don't know, fixing cars. Why is that my example? That's such a random example. You may think that you're about fixing cars. Like in your mind, that's what you thought. But Google, based on the content that you're giving them, they're thinking, it sounds like you're more related to motor oil. Listen, it happens, okay? So that might be what Google's saying. So Google may rank you better for motor oil versus fixing cars, and that wasn't your intention. Okay, so you have to find out what Google sees you as first, and those softwares will help you do that. Now, also what you can do, when did you create the content, love?
I started back in 2019 with YouTube, but after watching and listening to you, and then I went ahead and created a website, moved all the YouTube videos onto my individual platform, and I spent all of 2020 to put written content out.
Ooh, girl. Listen, we gonna chat because you're doing the work, and I think you need some direction as to where YouTube is ranking you. So first of all, kudos to you, like 100 articles and putting Jesus Christ. So okay, you just need to get optimized. But the good did you upload all the articles up there at once?
No. I had a YouTube video platform, but again, I've listened to you for a long time. So I went ahead and took the videos and instead hired ghostwriters to help me, get the written content out.
Oh, honey. Okay. So let me tell you what you can do. And for everyone listening, to make this a little bit more easy and a little bit more cost effective, if you go to YouTube, can I show a screen right now? Let me show something. Can I do that? Give me a second, y'all. I don't think I could do it right now because I wasn't prepared. I'm sorry. What I want you to do, I'm gonna show y'all how to do this later. I think I have a video, but just listen to me and then just trust next Wednesday I'll show you how to do it. Go to Google, go to YouTube. At the bottom of the video, you're gonna see where, like it says share video, you're gonna see something that says transcript, right? You're gonna click that button, and then it's going to be a transcript of everything that was said in the video you created, right? Which is what is going to end up happening with this video that you see me on right now. Later on, once the video is done, I will go to the transcript. I will copy that, you can hit toggle off to get the timestamp off, and then take that text and copy it, right? And then that you can give to whomever. If you want to hire somebody, you could, or you could, sometimes you could do it yourself. I send it to the people. And then that way, no one's having to necessarily write the content. They just have to edit it in a way in which it's easier to read versus how someone was speaking. That's going to be the most cost-effective way to pull the content that way, okay? But my question, love, is so you took the video from YouTube. I'm assuming you embedded it into your website, and then you wrote the content on the web page. What was the time frame in which you did that? Like, did that take a series? How often did you publish? I guess is my better question.
Right. So I started the YouTube channel 2018, came across your platform, started working on it early 2020, and then because the videos were already published and I have a personal attachment to some of the food I've eaten, I just went off of that. I just went off of that and wrote some of my personal experience with the food. And then I assigned the SEO phrases to the writers. So it took all of 2020 and some part of 2022 was when I completed it. So I started the work 2019, actively went ham 2020, and then completed it in 2022, which I have since added more articles about lifestyle relating to the countries that the recipe is about.
Okay, so this is two things I want to know. First, we got to see what you're optimized as. And secondly, we need to see what people who, again, so you're talking about your target audience, right? Do you know who your target audience is?
My target audience is plant-based. I'm plant-based, so I'm choosing to want to focus on that because that is something that I'm going through. I'm still learning about the lifestyle. And even when there are instances where I have to eat cheese or whatever, I do write about that. So I'm sticking to plant-based as my target audience.
Well, so,
and of course,
but here's
food.
the thing. That is a very, you get that that's a very saturated market, right? So, and I need to get you need to be more specific, right?
Yes.
Why you giggle?
Yes.
Why you giggling?
I'm giggling because I have listened to all your notes and I write it down. Be specific, be specific.
So
and of all things, I'm writing about plant-based African food, and I'm just like, oh my God, cinnamon.
No. But you would still that is a little bit of specificity, okay? So I don't want you to beat yourself up about that. But you. So now that we're saying plant-based with African food specifically, are you including the whole damn continent, or are you saying specific countries? Oh, okay. Well, shoot.
That's why I need help.
Christ. You want to do plant-based for a whole continent.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm curious. I am from West Africa, Liberia. I'm curious to know about other African countries without having to physically go there.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, I like food. Why
Okay.
not just eat the food from the country instead of me traveling there? So that's what the journey is about.
I love it. I think it sounds great. But again, you can't say the whole continent. So let's narrow it down even more. Like, let's say you're just picking one country for right now. You can always expand. Hear me when I say this, folks. Just because I'm telling you to get specific right now does not mean that you can't pivot later. I just need you to get honed in on one section so that Google and the internet gods that matter will know this so that they can start to understand what your content is about. Okay. So the person, because it's like a whole continent, if you pick one country first, then you can start telling the story of that food in that country, the history, how do you make it, whatever your story time you want to be with that specific country. That way, when people are searching that country in food in Google, you'll show up. They may not, say that country in food in vegetarian, but this is what's making you different. Okay. So the same softwares that I told you, they're going to show you the search volume for what your content is, okay? And so when you're creating an audience in the initial stages, you want to already see what people are searching for. And the internet will tell you that. The softwares that I mentioned earlier will tell you that. They'll tell you what people are searching for. So when you're just creating your audience, you want to start creating content that people are actually searching for in the field in which you are saying that you are in. Okay. So with that, how are we doing on time? Okay. So we got about 12 more minutes, but yes, do you feel a little, let me ask you this, because you've already done content. Again, kudos to you. Of the content that you created, are there, let's say, 10 articles that are country specific?
Absolutely. And to your point, I recently published an article or recipe for Liberia. I'm from Liberia, so I will be more specific with Liberia. And I'm noticing it has blown up. So one particular article has attracted a lot more audience. So I can start with one country, Liberia. That's where I'm from.
Beautiful.
That's what I know.
Beautiful. So what I would love, what I would love for you to do is start to hone in on your story. Like tell the viewer the picture in the story as to when they come to your website. Like let them know what you just said. You're from there. You identify with the food. You're like, talk about the story that you want the reader to get when they come here. So like maybe you don't have to travel. I'm going to show you how to cook it. I'm going to, maybe give you some clips, whatever it is. And then you can start to, once you have like 10 pieces of optimized content, then it's easier for you to transition to, let's say, other blogs. There are tons of blogs that are looking for guest posts. So you can say, hey, to a particular vegetarian blog, you can approach them to guest post specifically, food from Liberia. You know what I mean? So you can start, once you have the content and the ranking up, it's super easy to introduce yourself into other spaces. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Perfect.
And
Uh-huh.
I saw my website was recently linked by another company or blogger.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I really want help and I want guidance. So yeah,
I got
I
you.
hope their schedule open up.
So did you reach out to the blog that linked you?
No, they just linked me. I have found them on a link roundup and I was about to message them for them to add me. And as I was scrolling through a particular post, I'm like, wait a minute, that's my link. And then I thanked them for it.
Good. So you might want to find out what their audience is like. And just start, because this, like, even though we're online, folks, you're still going to network with people. Okay. So send an email, start a conversation. Because clearly they like what you were doing, and just see, is there something specific your audience is looking for? Or did you have any questions? Like, just talk to them. See if you guys can do some collaborations.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I still want more help though.
I got you. You're on my email list because you're in my Zoom. So just do me a favor, just reply back to the email and just remind me. And when it opens up, I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely, honey. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes. Okay, so do we have any questions? Launch self-paced course. Okay, where are we on the question? Sorry, y'all. I'm in the software. Like, what's happening? That makes sense. Cinnamon, one country, region first, like Liberia, West Africa. Absolutely. Invested almost 10K on the website. Wait, what was the question? Did I miss the question? Okay, so if you have questions for me specifically, guys, because I can't see in the software when you're talking to me and when you communicate with others. So if you have a question, just do me a favor, put a Q by it. Okay, I'll block Utopia. Thank you. I would like to launch a self-paced course that we have previously taught live. We have testimonies, and are there some tips that makes for better launches? So I would like to launch a self-paced course. So it's a couple questions with this. And I think you're on my list. So because I got a bunch of questions, I need you to click the Zoom link so I can have a conversation with you. Because I got a bunch of questions. So let me just start with my first question. My first question is it something that your current audience said that they wanted? Because I find that a lot of individuals will go and they'll make a course, because courses, granted, do make money, but you make a lot more money when your audience said you wanted it. They wanted it, right? So I want to know if they said that they wanted the course first. And if you don't know if they want it, you can always pre-sale first to test to see if you should even go and take the time to create the course. Okay. So yeah, talk to me on that. Either come in on Zoom. Well, we got about less than 10 minutes on that. Okay. So y'all talking because I have, okay. All right. So if you don't have any questions for me specifically, folks, I'm out of here. Are we good in Zoom? Everybody good? Y'all so quiet.
I have a quick question. I didn't
Sure, come on,
couldn't
April,
raise
talk to
my
me.
hand.
Go ahead,
Sorry.
love. You good?
So you said pre-test. How do you
Ooh.
I know that might be a long answer, but how do you pre-test to see if the content is relevant for the e-course?
For the e-course, do you already have an audience?
Working on it, but no.
Okay, so if you don't have an audience yet, you shouldn't be creating a course.
No, I meant once I have an audience.
Why does that matter? I want you to create the audience first.
Okay.
Because once you have the audience is going to tell you where they're struggling. You're going to hear the same questions over and over and over again. And then from that, you can say, okay, I get it. This is where they're struggling. So, and not to beat you in the head, April, but I'm talking to everybody. I don't want you guys, you can do what you want. Y'all grown, right? But I would advise to not take the time to create a course until you start communicating with your audience. Because what's going to happen is you take the time and effort, because creating courses is a lot of effort. It's a lot of upfront software cost. It's a upfront time. And it's nothing worse than creating a course and then your sales are low. It'll kill your momentum, right? But if you are communicating with your audience, you're talking to them, you're finding out what they need, and then you can easily say, okay, you guys sound like you're interested in that, and then you can pre-sell it. You can only pre-sell what you know that they're interested in. So if you haven't built the audience yet, I want you to stay in that lane first. Because guys, all of this is going to be steps, and I want everyone to stay in the step in which they're in, because it's going to make it a lot easier. If you get caught up on websites or what software or all of that, before you have one client, it's going to be harder. If you have the clients and the audience, they'll end up paying for the software in theory because of you selling the product. So, April, you know I'm not beating up on you, right?
Oh no, I know your style. Your style of teaching. No, it makes sense though. It makes a lot of sense.
I want you to focus on your audience first, because if anyone listening to this, if you feel like you've been doing this for a minute and you're not getting the momentum that you want, it's because you haven't gotten your audience yet, right? So if you want someone to give you their hard-earned money, you have to develop the relationship with them first. And see, people don't want to give the money to you, and they don't know anything. Like, you're not showing them what it would be like to work with you. You're not showing them like what the process or you got to show them something so you could build the audience so that it's a no-brainer when they're ready to work with you. So if that's where you are, do that first. Get the audience first. And because we are getting ready, or we already in a recession, but it's about to get worse. So that means the advertising on your online platforms is about to get ridiculous and so much more expensive. So if you're using your various channels to capture audience, whether that be YouTube, Instagram, or whatever social channel, make sure that you get them on your email list so that you can market to them directly. So that if you get kicked off of Instagram, or if YouTube don't like the way you're doing business, you won't lose your whole audience, okay? So definitely get people on your email list. So I'm going to try real hard to do this again next week, same time. Again, for those of you on my list, if you want to get on a list, go ahead to drivenspice.com and scroll down at the bottom and just say specifically that you're interested in online income, so it'll put you in that market segment. And for those of you on my list, if you're looking at the recording or what have you, if you have questions, go ahead and send me your questions, because I get your emails and I usually don't have time to email back. I don't have the time, but I'm going to specifically leave this hour on Wednesday so we can answer, and we're going to dish it out. We're going to fight it out. We're going to get this stuff done. Okay. So Yeah, build your audience first. We got like 3-4 minutes. Let me see. Questions. Hire the company. All right, question. Okay, I do see. Did poll in our Facebook group last time we did the course. We had 54 participants. We plan to pre-sale, already created the course for the live, just need to package it. So what's the question? Okay, so you said you did. Okay, so when you plan a pre-sale. Okay, so that's my thing. Just go ahead and pre-sale. And wait, dang, I forgot the other part of your question. This is why I need you on Zoom, because I can't scroll up. I don't remember the first part of your question. I'm so sorry, love. I would like to launch a course. What is the question? Are there some tips that make for better launches? Okay, that was the initial question. Pre-selling makes for better launches all the time. Pre-sales are going to make for better launches because then you know how many people are interested. Of course, you want to make sure that there is a cutoff so that you can have some type of scarcity there. If you want to put bonuses for people who sign up before a particular date, of course, that's always an option. But in my opinion, pre-sales are always going to be the most important thing. You can also decide to raise the price of the course after a certain time. And those are some tips in that area. Okay, I think we are out with the questions. Okay, all right, we out of here. I'm ending it on YouTube. To my folks in Zoom, just hold on with me for a minute. To folks on YouTube, it's a pleasure. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comment box. If you're on my list, just reply. And I feel real confident I'm gonna try to do this next Wednesday. Okay, all right, ciao.